and welcome to the EDH Academy Deck Lab, where we go over the construction of a commander deck and go a little bit into more detail as to how it's supposed to operate. My name is Jay, host of the EDH Academy podcast and head researcher here at the Deck Lab. Today's episode, we're going to be going over one of the winners of the EDHCare giveaway that we held in December of 2018. The winner of this deck was @CarbonGlitch13, who wanted an aggro deck that was centered around goblins. Now, normally goblins run in mono red, seen as either it being Krakow Mob Boss or Zodahedron Grinder, but for this deck, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to be adding an additional color, which gives us access to a bit more removal, a little bit more consistency in our draws, along with some travel support that not many are aware of. Our commander for this deck is Wort, Boggart, Auntie. For 2 black-red, we get a 3/3 Goblin Shaman with Fear, meaning it can't be blocked except by artifact or black creatures. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may return target Goblin card from your graveyard to your hand. So Boggart Auntie is a commander who's hard to block, decent stats for its converted mana cost, and is able to recur our Goblin cards that we've used earlier in the game. So we're going to be still maintaining the Goblin aggressive strategy. We're going to be adding a few things in here to make things a little bit smoother, give us a few more options of dealing with problems. To start us off, we're going to be going over the ramp options. These 5 cards are things you're going to see in a lot of Rakdos decks already, and they're just here to make sure that we get the mana that we need and the colors that we need to be able to cast our spells early and often. If you're looking to add a little bit more to this section, there is Mindstone, Prismatic Land, and Rakdos Locket to begin your exploration there. These next 5 artifacts add a little bit of additional benefit into a different section of the deck. Universal Solvent gives us an answer to lands and to enchantments, which is something that black and red kind of sort of struggle with in the format. Pen & Blade and Stoneforge Masterwork offer us a way to make a really big creature to attack with in the event that there is either a lot of blockers or we're only able to attack with one of them. Hazard's and Bantu's Monuments will help us discount our creature spells in their colors, and on top of that, it'll give us an additional benefit by either draining our opponents or giving us a way to draw deeper into our deck. Our enchantments are very straightforward, and there are few, but they are powerful. Fervor gives our creatures haste, Goblin War Drums gives them menace, and Boggart Shenanigans lets our goblins deal 1 more damage to any target when they die. Our instants are a lot of our removal in this deck. Even with Chaos Warp being a kind of a catch-all trade-off for a permanent removal, everything in here is to either deal damage to something or destroy it. Tarfire is something to look into, especially only because it's actually a Goblin card, so it's something you can either burn your opponent for 2 at the end of the turn, get rid of a creature, but you can recur that card. If you're looking for additional removal options at instant speed, my recommendation would be to start by looking at Bedevil for Ravnica Allegiances. It does the same effect as Hero's Downfall, but it gives you the additional coverage to be able to hit artifacts as well. The sorceries in this deck can be split into 2 categories. Well, the first one is going to be draw or card advantage. So these cards are going to help us dig deeper into our deck or find the specific cards that we're looking for. Boggart Birthright is a one-time War Boggart Auntie effect where we're able to return a Goblin card from our graveyard in the event that she's not out, or we're just looking for 1 more Goblin to be able to take out the game. Our second category of sorceries is Destruction. These are going to be our options for either getting rid of an individual creature or destroying multiple creatures and clearing out the board state. Warren Weirding is a unique card and that we can target ourselves for it, sacrifice one of our own goblins to get 2 more. If you're looking into investing more into this particular section of the deck, I would suggest either looking into the Massboard White Damnation, or if you're looking for more spot removal, I would recommend Dreadbore or Fodder Launch. Fodder Launch is a Goblin sorcery, so it will be able to be returned by Boggart Auntie. On top of that, it will pretty much remove a large number of the creatures you'll encounter in a commander game, and if that creature were to die or go to the graveyard, it would deal 5 damage to your opponent. So now that we've talked about everything that isn't a Goblin that's going to be running and attacking our opponent, let's start actually talking about the main focus of this deck, which are the creatures. There are 28 of them, and of the 28, there are only 2 of them that are not Goblins, but that's okay because they're going to give us an additional benefit, and we don't need to keep them on the battlefield. So our 2 non-Goblins in the deck are Anger and Burnished Heart. Anger gives us haste while he's in the grave, and we have a mountain, which we have plenty of, and Burnished Heart will help us be able to accelerate our mana by fetching 2 basic lands from our deck into the battlefield. Our first section of goblins is going to be our density goblins. These are creatures that are relatively low cost, and they get in the field, they get their damage in, and these are mainly the ones that are strictly for getting damage in. One creature to keep in mind in this particular section and look at is the Gem Palm Incinerator, because this is a creature we may not actually want on the battlefield. We may want to keep this one in hand because we could pay 1 and a red to discard it to draw a card, and if we want to, we can deal damage equal to target creature, equal to the number of goblins we control. And as you can see later on in the video, we have plenty of ways of making our field nice and wide. The next section of goblins we're going to be dealing with are goblins that synergize with the fact that we are playing goblin cards. Rock Tosser Banneret makes them 1 cheaper to cast. Boggart Harbinger and Goblin Matron are going to be ways that we can grab them from our deck into our hand. Squeaky Pie Grubfellows is actually an interesting card because at the beginning of our upkeep, we can look at the top card of our library. If it is a goblin card, we can reveal it. If we do, our opponents discard a card. So that's a way that we could get some additional benefit for running as many goblin cards as we do. Now, earlier in the video, I had said that Gem Palm Incinerator is going to work really well with the fact that we're going to make our board nice and wide. And this category of goblins is going to be where that's all coming from. So all of these creatures here, including the very popular Crankwood Mob Boss, they're going to help us make our field wide, so that way when our creatures are able to swing and attack and may be difficult to block, they will be able to get through and close up the game real quick. The last 2 categories I'm actually going to combine into one because they all do functionally the same thing. The first category is our Lords category. These creatures are traditional Lords where they give our goblins +1/+1 with an additional effect. So with Goblin Trashmaster, we can sacrifice a goblin to destroy an artifact. With Mad Auntie, we can tap her to save our goblin from 1 time of destruction. If you're looking to invest into more Lords, my recommendation would be Goblin King because it will give them not only the boost, but if you're playing cards like Blood Moon, Magus of the Moon, it will actually make them unblockable in and of itself. These next category of creatures I am calling Battle Lords because they give an effect to all of our creatures, but it's not necessarily a +1/+1 boost. So Bloodmark Mentor is going to give all of our red creatures first strike, so a lot of our goblins in the deck are red, so giving them first strike is going to be really, really strong. Counterwhelming Boggart gives them menace, meaning they can't be blocked unless they're blocked by at least 2 creatures, which makes attacking decks with only a few number of creatures, making it very difficult to even block the smallest of creatures. Goblin War Chief is going to make our goblins cheaper to cast and give them haste. So between First Strike, Menace, and Haste, we're already getting our goblins out, getting them to attack, and closing out the game real quick. The last card in the deck is Goblin War Driver. When he attacks, everyone else who's attacking gets +1/+1. So when Goblin War Driver is attacking, the rest of the team gets bigger, and the wider the field you have, the quicker you close out the game. And our final category is our lands category. We're running 36 lands, starting with Evolving Wilds and Terramorphic Expanse. They will allow us to grab a basic out of our library to be able to fix our colors. We're running Rogue's Passage to allow one of our creatures to get in for damage if we need to. Reliquary Tower to get rid of that pesky little hand size limit that we always have. And Command Tower. From there, we're just running 2 Panoramas from Shards of Alara block for us to be able to either tap for mana in the meantime, or if we really need to fix our mana, we can go and grab one of our basics in our deck. The 3 dual lands we're running in our deck is the Check Land, the Battle Land, and the Show Land. So these 3 cards, depending on if we have 2 basics for the Battle Land, if we control a basic of our colors, or if we reveal a basic of one of our colors in our hand, we can actually have these cards come to play on tap, which is super helpful in being able to not only fix our mana, but still be able to play spells, as a lot of lands that want to add a mana of, 1 of 2 or 3 colors, they'll enter the battlefield tap, assuming there isn't an additional cost on top of that. And from there, we're just simply running 13 copies of each basic. Because of the number of entrants into our giveaway, we were able to include a copy of each full art land from Battle for Zendikar, Oath of the Gatewatch, Amonkhet, Hour of Devastation, and Unstable. Thank you for watching this episode of the EDH Academy Deck Lab. If you liked the video, please hit that like button. If you have any thoughts you would like to share about the video, please leave a comment below. If you would like to follow us on YouTube, please sure to hit that subscribe button. If you want to be notified whenever we make a new video, hit that bell icon. If you'd like to contribute to the EDH Academy, please check out the links below to find out how you can contribute. Thank you again for watching, and you have a good day.